This video shows you how to add ceilings to your Revit textbook file. The first thing you're going to do is switch to the second floor ceiling plan. So if you look, you've been working off of floor plans. Right here, you need to find this section. And you want to go to the second floor ceiling plan. So this is like looking straight up while standing on that floor. So first one's pretty easy. You go to ceiling. And you're going to pick the ACT, which stands for acoustic ceiling tile. Now you're going to have to change the height of the ceiling so that it comes to 8.4 off the floor. And now you come in and click on this room, which is called the office of the house. And now you have a ceiling there. That's it for that one. Now you need to go to the basement ceiling plan. You might notice, though, there is no basement ceiling plan. This is because most residential houses don't need a ceiling in the basement. However, this one has a portion of it as a finished basement. So to create a ceiling plan, you go to View, Plan View, and Reflected Ceiling. And create basement. Now you might notice this looks a little funny. You need to set the view range to 6.6. So basically what's happening is you're cutting through, and your ceiling plan is looking literally in the middle of the floor above. So if we drop this down a little bit, because your basement is not that tall, you'll now see all the different rooms in your basement. Okay, we're going to go back to the architecture tab so we can create a ceiling. This time it's going to be the same type of ceiling, but before we put it at 8.4, now the height is only going to be 7 feet because the basement's just not nearly as tall of a floor as the upper floors. And now you should be able to click here and place this. All right, I'm going to hit the escape button. Now, you see these little pieces of tile? That's never a good thing. It doesn't look good. It's tiny little pieces. It's hard to make. So what the textbook wants you to do is move that ceiling. So to move it, you click on the Modify tab, Move command. You can click one of those, and you can hit Enter. And now you just need to pick any point as a reference point and move straight north or up from there. Make sure it says 2 feet. Click it down, and now you can see there are no tiny little pieces of ceiling tile on the edges, except for these places where it's unavoidable. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to select the ceiling again. To select the whole ceiling, you can hit the tab button. And now you're actually going to change this to 7 foot 2 inches, which moves the ceiling a little bit taller. And go to the rotate tool, and we want this to be rotated just to give the room a little bit of a different look while you're inside of it. So just like you use the move command, this is just going to be a reference point, so you can see it can go anywhere. Just click it so that it's straight up. And now rotate until you get to 30 and click again. Oops, forget that. Sorry. Don't hit the whole ceiling. You only want to rotate the actual lines. So pick the line, click again. The rotate command is still the same way I did it before. And there we go. All right, so now you've created the 2 acoustic ceilings in your house. Now you're going to move on to gypsum board ceiling tiles, which is just like your gypsum wall board, but instead it's going to be called gypsum ceiling board. But first you have to create that material because it doesn't exist yet. So we're going to go to the Manage tab, Materials. And while we're in here, we're going to create the ceiling tile. So this is just basically all the different materials that are available to you within their project. And you can see the only gypsum we have is a wallboard. So we're going to click on this, right click, and duplicate. And now you can change the name of this to some ceiling board. And I spelled that wrong. There you go. And while you're in here, you want to change this surface pattern to also be gypsum. It was that the walls don't have this pattern because it would be too much to look at to have these little dots on the walls, but it's nice to be able to see that you actually added a ceiling. So you need this here, or else you won't be able to tell that you're actually adding a ceiling. All right, I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so now you're going to create a ceiling over here. Go back to architecture and say ceiling. And now, of course, rather than creating one that's existing, you're going to create a new ceiling type. So it's referenced off of this one. So just like always, we're going to pick one and say edit, duplicate, and then we're going to rename it. So this is just like a save as. We're going to call this suspended gypsum board on metal stud. So that just means it's suspended from the ceiling. And now you can see that it's renamed. So you're going to say edit. And you can change this one. This is a metal layer, which all suspended ceilings have a metal layer that holds them up. You can change this to 1.5. And then you're going to insert another metal layer. So change this to the metal. And this thickness will be 3/4 of an inch. So this is just two different pieces of metal that are going perpendicular to each other. And then this is an important step, don't miss this. Make sure you change this to the ceiling board instead of the wall board. So that'll give you that pattern on your ceiling. And that matches the ceiling as listed on page 823, so we're good to go. Hit OK. And now you can put a ceiling here. And if you zoom in, you'll see that that actually shows you that there's ceiling there. Now the next area you want to add a ceiling is here, but if you notice, it's going to add a ceiling going up your stairs as well. And for this point, you don't want to do that. So what you need to do is add what's called a bulkhead. It's like adding a little partition up high on or near your ceiling. And what that is it's just a little piece of a wall that's high up. So I'm going to click wall. You want this type of wall, but you want it to be 7 feet off the floor of your basement, which is pretty high if you think about it. So zoom in, make sure you're drawing it aligned with your stairs. I'm not sure that mine aligned, so I'm going to hit align. There we go. And now we can go back and create that ceiling again. And that's it. You're now done with the basement ceiling. I want to go to the 3D view and show you what that bulkhead was, though. So this is the section view. If I zoom in, you can see that there's ceiling there, and this acoustic ceiling tile over here. And if you look, this is where the stairs are. There is your bulkhead that you just added, and it's just a little piece of a drop down of the wall there, so that you can separate that part of the room. Okay. Now what you're going to do is go to your second floor ceiling plan. And right now you only have this as a ceiling, no ceiling anywhere else. Let me actually pause here and I'll pick up in the next video because I'm about to run out of time.